Rozier.
Rozier. Okay, now we need to be quiet because we're going live to Facebook, so we'll want to mute. Okay, I'm going to start the recording. If you will go ahead and advance. Let me wait, let people in. It's not letting me let people in. Can you do it?
Yes. Should I go ahead and play the music right now?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't let them in and do that.
I just
and play music at the same time.
I claim a blessing. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. This is how I start the day, knowing good is on the way. I am claiming what good come to me. Yeah, I claim a blessing. I claim it. I claim a blessing. I claim it. Yeah, yeah. I claim a blessing. I claim it. I claim a blessing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, bring it to me. Give it to me. Now bring it on, yeah. I claim bring it on, yeah.
I claim a blessing. That was a wonderful song by Claudia Kerrville, who is going to be our special music next week. This is Beverly Pryor, the minister at Unity of the Hill Country in Kerrville, Texas, welcoming you today to our online service. This is how we are doing it right now until we can get back together in person. So let's take a moment and just get centered in prayer. We'll close our eyes together and just take a deep breath in and release. That breath brings us into this present moment. And together we open our hearts and our minds in gratitude and appreciation for this time together, for our wonderful opportunity to be online in this moment. And for those of you who are listening later, to be connected virtually at any time at your own convenience. Grateful for our special speaker today and our special music. And we begin this day just saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Okay, thank you so much. Now we begin today with, as we do every week, with our opening statement. There's only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the good, the omnipotent. Just take a moment and let that sink in, that truth. So our opportunities to connect each week are, of course, this Sunday gathering, and also on Tuesdays, we have a gathering at 4:00 that Patsy Sherman is hosting called Lost Christianities, and she's playing an episode of the Great Courses, this Lost Christianities, Christian Scriptures. It's really interesting. They've got history and all sorts of research-backed information to share. And our special music today is Denise Rozier. And Denise is one of those amazing posse artists that we've been so blessed to be able to have now that we're going virtual. We probably wouldn't find her traveling to the Hill Country very often, but we can have her online. And she is one of the inspirational artists of contemporary music. And she's an award-winning singer, songwriter, and producer and recording artist. And she's best known for music for the New Thought spiritual communities. And so her original songs have been released on 5 different solo studio albums and numerous compilation albums and television. And in addition to winning 4 Posse Music Awards, Denise is the first and only artist to publish New Thought music through the genre barrier by winning 2 nominations for Best Contemporary Gospel and Christian Album in the Independent Music Awards in 2016 and 2019. So her concerts and music and message programs are, and she also offers enriching workshops. So we're very excited to have Denise Rozier with us today. And you'll be really excited to hear her music. I got a little bit of a taste of it when we did our sound check earlier. And our guest speaker today, I'm so excited to introduce you to Nancy Little. Some of you met Nancy earlier, maybe in, what month was that? April or May, when she came online and did some of our, one of our Tenderness Tuesdays, and she was talking about stress relief. Nancy is a PhD, and she works with people, or has worked in the past with people, to overcome anxiety and issues like that. She's written a couple of books, and the most recent of which is Energy Sparks, and she's released that. She created this book because Nancy actually is the person who has designed the course called Self-Care for Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute, and the contents of this and inspired her. I'm kind of putting words in her mouth, but inspired her, or she worked with the content she developed for this course, which is required for ministerial students to learn about self-care. She put it together, and it's a great resource. And maybe we'll even do a little study on Nancy's book so that we have can really get into understanding how to recharge and refresh and revitalize, which is the subtitle of Nancy's book. On a personal level, I have known Nancy for over 20 years, I think it is, and she has been on the regional board of the Unity regional, South Central regional area, and she and I have been friends and worked together as licensed Unity teachers at Unity of Dallas. And she's done programs and talks and spoken all around. And I'm just so excited to introduce you to Nancy. I know you're going to get so much out of her presentation today, and she's just going to bless your life. So the next slide should take us to our prayer request. So each week we pray over the prayer requests that are submitted to us here at Unity of the Hill Country. And we pray over them locally, and then we send them on to Silent Unity. Many of you are familiar with Silent Unity. You know that they've been praying 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on campus at the Silent Unity Tower there at Unity Village in Missouri. If you haven't called for prayer support, you don't have to have an issue. You can just call to enjoy the power of prayer. You can call them during the hours here. Their hours have been restricted. It used to be 24 hours, but they've limited a little bit during the pandemic. But you can also submit your prayer request online at unity.org/prayer or /prayer or unityofthehillcountry.org. But we acknowledge the power of prayer in everything we do. And Unity was actually founded on prayer after one of the co-founders, Myrtle Fillmore, healed herself through the power of prayer. So let's take a moment now, and in the tradition of our Waysower Jesus, we will claim truth to each one of these prayers that have been submitted. If you haven't had a chance to submit your prayer, just take a moment now, and from your heart, just send that prayer into the prayer chest, into this consciousness of prayer that we're sharing in this moment. So let's close our eyes together and take a deep breath in and release. The breath connects us mind, body, and spirit. And it connects us one with another. We're so blessed to have this opportunity as a community to pray together, to join together in consciousness, to affirm and to claim absolute truth over each and every prayer submitted. We know that there's no degree, there's no difference in prayer. There's no prayer too small or too great for that absolute good in the universe that we know as God. In the way of our Wayshower, as we've been taught to claim, it is done. For this and so much more, we simply say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. The mission and vision statement of unity of the Hill Country in Kerrville, Texas is to live consciously, celebrating the divine potential in all. Our daily word reader today is Miss BK Kana. BK?
Thank you. Good morning. I am BK, and I am so grateful to be with you today. The word for today is guidance. I am divinely guided. Guidance can be easy to find in the outer world. Maps and GPS technology can help me navigate my way just about anywhere. Everywhere I go, there are signs marking our streets, adorning storefronts, and providing just about every kind of information and opinion imaginable. Spiritual guidance often is not as evident, but it is much more valuable. This guidance can come to me as a persistent tug on my attention, as a gut feeling or intuition, or even in a dream as I'm sleeping. I pay attention to this guidance I receive and step out in faith to move my steps in its direction. I know that the spirit of wisdom and love within me are always guiding me to blessings of greater peace, love, and prosperity. And in Psalm 25, verse 4, we read, "Make me to know your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths." Well, thank you for joining us in worship today. Blessings to all.
Thank you, BK. I love the way you read that with passion and understanding of the message that you were sharing. And now we get to hear from our amazing special music, Denise Rozier. Denise? Okay, let me just double check and make sure that Denise is unmuted. She is not. That's why we can't hear her yet. And when she speaks, we will also get to see her. And Mandy, you may have to unmute from your side because from some reason it is not allowing me to do that.
Yes, I'm trying to unmute her as well. It's not unmuting.
Well, this is sometimes what happens. We have little challenges in the middle of everything. Denise, could you unmute yourself possibly?
Oh.
Okay, whatever.
Okay,
There you got it.
how's that?
That's good. Thank you.
All right. It is great to see all of you this morning. I have my little iPad here. I could see all your little rectangles, and I am Denise Rozier, and it's great to meet you. I have a little song I'm going to play for you called I Am. That's going to take us into our time of meditation. So as I go through each one of these verses, I hope that you'll just take a moment to take all of these words in and just affirm them for yourself and for all of us. I am made of the light that hung the stars in the night, a perfect thought since time began. I am one with the love that's holding all of us. It's power in my hand. I am. I am called by the voice that speaks of truth and joy, forever blessed where I stand. I am.
That's beautiful, Denise. Thank you so much. And Mandy, if you'll switch us back. Start from current slide. There we go. And now we'll begin in preparation for meditation by listening to a song by Karen Drucker called One Breath at a Time.
we just take a moment to take one more breath in, hold, and release. The healing words and energy of Karen Drucker. Let's just continue this process. I invite you to gently close your eyes if you're comfortable and join me in a journey that takes us within with another breath, feeling the power of the breath to unite us, to strengthen us, and to inform us as we go into that sacred place, that inner chamber that allows us to listen to the divine guidance, to the wisdom, to the intuitions that are available to us when we slow down, slow our pace. And in this moment, we allow ourselves to go with the flow, to be in the moment, and to go gently, step by step, to our special place, to visualize the sights, the sounds, the scents, the taste, the touches that we experience there. Anchor in that special place for you, where you receive wisdom. And with another inhale, we allow the guidance of Spirit to inform us, to bless us with grace in the silence. With another deep inhale and release, we express our gratitude for our momentary pause in this day, this Sabbath, and we make our way back along that path, step by step, to this virtual service where we are fully engaged and awake, feeling refreshed and uplifted by the new insights that may have begun to seep into our heart. And with another breath, we say, thank you, God. Thank you for all the blessings that are seen and those that are still not quite clear in my life. And so it is. Amen.
Oh, Father, oh, Father, Lord of all creation. Holy is your name, holy is your name, praise you forever. Your kingdom is at hand. just like you do, as we receive. We never hunger. We're not afraid. Oh Lord, keep us from evil's way. For yours is the power, and yours is the glory
Nancy, thank you so much for that beautiful meditation. And so that gave you a little bit of a taste of the heart and soul of Nancy Little, who will be speaking to us today. Let peace begin with me. And she'll be using the material from her newly published book, Energy Sparks, to recharge, refresh, and rejuvenate. She'll teach us how to increase our self-nurturing activities and open the way to increase compassion and new levels of forgiveness and enhanced relationships. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you so much, Beverly. It is so great to see you all and be with you. Feel that power of connection. And I am so grateful for the uplifting music. My heart feels wide open. I've lit a candle in my own space, hoping that our hearts feel that warmth and that glow, and that just paves the way for the time we're going to experience today. Wow, we're in a time, are we not? There's so much happening, and it brings up so many questions for people. How are we going to find our way forward in the midst of all this certainty? These crises that if we ever do turn into the news, or even if we just go out on social media, we're hearing about really important struggles and challenges and decisions that people are facing. And we may feel as if there are blocks, there are boulders even in our path. I don't know about where you are in the hill country or wherever you come. I see one of my dear friends is here from Washington State, but we have potholes in Dallas. Doesn't it feel like there are a lot of potholes that we're avoiding right now? And sometimes we just wish we had somebody that we could really share what's on our heart. How do we get through this feeling more alive, feeling more encouraged and more uplifted? Well, hopefully my Energy Sparks book that Beverly, thank you for that heart-touching introduction. Yes, we do go very far back into the 90s. I can barely remember the 90s in some ways, but I clearly remember the time I spent with you. I'm going to be sharing a couple of tips out of the 52 tips that I have gathered for my first book called Energy Sparks to Recharge, Refresh, and Revitalize. I never knew when I began this process that was going to release in the midst of a pandemic, but what a perfect time in some ways. This is me when I first got my shipment of books, and a dear friend of mine, a dear mutual friend of Beverly's and mine, had given me a bottle of champagne, and I had gotten flowers from another friend. So I was in a happy place. And this is the link that you can use to order the book if you're so interested. But here's what I want to do today. I want to introduce you to a couple of the key tips in the book that seem to be a place where a lot of people get stuck and they get blocked. And the very first of those relates to self-forgiveness. Now, I know that you've already been through forgiveness processes before, right? You've had those workshops, you've attended those classes, and you engaged in the process. But somehow we start to notice where there's some lingering energy at times. So I want to give you a few thoughts to consider from one of the tips. It's tip number 19, and it's in a category in the book called recharge. In fact, both of my tips today are from the category recharge. There's 4 tips in each category, and there's 13 categories. So let's move forward. What do we do when we realize that at times we're holding grudges against ourselves? You know, when I work with people, and I don't care what the setting, it could be a spiritual setting, it could be a corporate setting, it could be working with people through a volunteer organization. And what I find is sometimes they still engage in some pretty harsh criticism of themselves. They're still carrying some heavy weights on their shoulders, and it has to do with unforgiveness. We forgive other people much more easily than we forgive ourselves. So, what do you do when you tune back in and you allow yourself to recognize and become aware of some areas that still need a little healing light? Well, when you engage in this work, it is as if you're taking off those heavy weights off your shoulders, or you're releasing those heavy suitcases that you've been dragging from one destination to another. Now, I know what it looks like to pack heavy suitcases. When I used to travel, always having to pack and repack to lighten my load. And doesn't it feel good when we can lighten our load? What we're really releasing, though, are those lingering beliefs, those self-criticisms, or those thoughts that cause us pain and hurt. And when we are able to more fully forgive ourselves, we open up to other people. We have a greater sense of compassion for others, and it allows us to connect more deeply and to trust more fully. Wouldn't that take us to a lovely space in our own spiritual path, in our own journey? So, in Energy Sparks, in one of the tips on self-forgiveness, I encourage the reader, I encourage you, the listener, in the service today, to try an approach that perhaps you haven't tried before. Or even if you have, maybe it's time for a refresher. Maybe it's time to write yourself a letter. And it would be as if you're writing from the perspective of a treasured friend, a loving confidant, or from spirit, encouraging you for all the ways that you've shown up in the world. And you know, we talk in unity, or at least I've heard this message from one of my former ministers about the idea of mistakes. Let me explain. You know, when we think about shooting film or we think about directing a Hollywood production, we often have take one, take two, take three, take 99, right? Sometimes it takes a few takes to get it right. And when we have a mistake, we just reshoot it. We just redo it. So create your own ideas around making a new take and what that's going to look like moving forward. Offer yourself kindness and love. Be generous as you would to somebody that you deeply cared about. And then allow that sense to just wash over you, that new sense of freedom, because you have more fully released whatever you've been holding. Wouldn't that be a lovely way of showing love to yourself in the form of forgiveness? Martha Smock, excuse me, is a treasure from Unity. And I don't know how many of you have read her books or know even who she is, but she's one of my favorite authors. And her book, Listen, Beloved, that she wrote as she was healing herself from cancer, is a particular treasure. And just to put it in context, she was the editor of Daily Word for over 35 years. Don't you love what the Daily Word offers us? And Martha acquired such wisdom in that role, in that service to Unity. And this is what she said: when you let the love of God fill your heart and mind, you find that you are able to accept forgiveness for yourself. You are able to release self-condemnation and to let the past go. Wow. Take a deep breath on that one. But not only do I want to share with you about what Martha said, but another person with the name M, another Unity treasure, May Rowland, who is the longest serving director of Silent Unity. She held the job from 1916 to 1971. I'm wondering if any of you had a job that long. And boy, did May know a lot about the power of prayer and the magic of the word. It was her book that she wrote so lovingly as a source of inspiration for us. And she said, I believe that love and forgiveness are the answer for anyone who has a problem, no matter how large or how small it is. Sounds like wisdom speaking through the ages to me. And I want to share one more quote with you from another Unity treasure, Jim Rose Mergui. He was ordained in 1978, and he served the Unity movement for more than 40 years, having only recently retired from his ministry in Florida. And he said this: you must forgive yourself, and you will feel the presence of eternal love. Another collective breath. These three speakers, authors, ministers, Unity treasures gave us so much to ponder and to reflect on relating to self-forgiveness. In my self-care class that Beverly mentioned, I have 8 modules, and we go through one module per week in the 8-week class. The second module that follows forgiveness is self-compassion. So I wanted to share that tip as well. They go really hand in hand together, self-forgiveness and self-compassion, because when we bring back those areas that were unhealed and we're moving through a process, it's so important to be kind and loving to ourselves. It's another way that we recharge. And we need to spend as much time as we can in the recharge mode right now, because we're finding ourselves getting depleted really easily. It's like sometimes when your cell phone, it gets drained a little more easily for whatever reason. And I think we're experiencing some of that. I know I am in my personal life. So, what does self compassion do for you? Well, it's really a healthier way of relating to yourself. It's a more kind and generous way. It's drawing on some of the principles of Buddhism and other spiritual traditions to honor the struggle that you're facing. Now, if you were using the self compassion messages of some of our Buddhist teachers, you might even claim that you're in a moment of suffering. And I know some people don't like that word, suffering, but it works for me. If you don't resonate with it, just change it to I am in a moment of discomfort. I am in a moment of struggle. Or use my metaphor, I am in a pothole. I am in a challenging time, whatever works for you. But when you offer yourself compassion, it has ripples that spread out. We become more compassionate to other people. We become more empathic and more generous. I included this picture from a recent burning bowl that we did in my backyard at the end of May. I like more regular burning bowls than on New Year's Eve. So maybe that's something you can engage in. It's a time where we release and we ignite new ways of being in the world. And in my last burning bowl, I ignited more self compassion for me. I want to introduce you to someone that you may not know, and yet she is just literally right down the road from you. Her name is Dr. Kristin Neff, and she is a renowned researcher, author, trainer, speaker on the whole area of self compassion. She's even done a video with Dr. Brene Brown, another amazing woman that discusses and shares about her research on shame. They've overlapped and done some work together. But what I want to encourage you to do is to visit Dr. Kristin Neff's website. It's www.selfcompassion.org. What happens there is a variety of opportunities you will get to choose from, depending upon what you want. First of all, there's a 26 question questionnaire, an assessment that gives you a score on self-compassion immediately. It can give you some of the strengths that you have in that area. It can show you where you may need a little extra investment to be more self-compassionate. There's a whole host of meditations, of activities and resources available on that site. And then a really good list of references if you want to seek out more mindfulness activities. This is a way to enhance your self-compassion because it is so important that we extend that generosity and kindness to ourselves on our spiritual journey. Both self-forgiveness and self-compassion are best moved through in a support, in a cushion of self-care. And I added a few of my favorite self-care activities on this slide. Scented candles. I have the candle in my office lit right now. Enjoy an inspiring movie or book. Maybe it's my book. Maybe it's another book that you want to enjoy, or a movie that you've heard about that would support where you are emotionally and spiritually and provide comfort and care for yourself right now. I'm cooking more than ever, and I and my husband are creating some, excuse me, amazing meals. Try that as a way of self nurturing. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's more Karen Drucker or another of your favorite artists. And you all live, whether you're in the hill country or somewhere else, we all have beautiful spots in nature that we can engage in. I live about 10 minutes from a lake here in North Dallas. So I've been riding my bike, and that's a way that I engage in self-care every day safely. So all of this provides a cushion. It's more important than ever for you to move yourselves to the top of your priority list. It's okay to be loving to yourself. That just puts you in a great position to extend that love and kindness to others. So, peace. What we're really going for is to let our light shine more brightly. And I hope that you will join me in this affirmation of peace. I'll say it first, and then you don't have to unmute yourself, but just say it wherever you are. The more peaceful I am inside, the more peace I have to share with others. Together, the more peaceful I am inside, the more peace I have to share with others. And so it is. And so it is. You know, this is a time to do something audacious and bold and courageous. And two tips that I've shared with you today: self forgiveness and self compassion are wonderful places to start or to go further or deeper on your spiritual journey. So, once again, I want to share with you my book, Energy Sparks to Recharge, Refresh, and Revitalize. I have 52 tips in that little resource treasure for you, and you can order it at my website. This is the exact link. I'll send it to you first class mail, postage paid, and tax included. So I look forward to seeing you down the road, back in this virtual space, and just know that you are a blessing. Namaste.
Thank you, Nancy. That's exactly what we all needed to hear right now. That's just means everything to have you come on and share your thoughts from your new book and from your own personal experience, because I know you and I know that you do practice self-care and you take time for yourself and to nurture and to make sure that you're balanced, because it takes us back to that old analogy that we've been using forever. If you want to care for others, it's like the oxygen mask on the
Yes.
airplane. You have to put it on yourself first
Yep.
before you can help the person beside you. So I give a weekly practice every week at the end of our talk. So this week you're not getting out of it, folks, just because Nancy came online. So your weekly practice this week is to self-care, to just reflect on areas where you could do better about taking care of yourself so that you can care for others in your life, and design your own self-care plan. Order Nancy's book or listen back to this talk again. And she's given us lots of material to work with here. And then put that plan together and implement it. And as you're taking these practices on, reflect back on how, and you may even get a journal, as Nancy mentioned earlier. Reflect on how they're changing you, from the inside out, and how that's affecting your daily life. Thank you, Nancy, again. And we're back to listening to our amazing special music guest, Denise Rozier. Okay, well, we're trying to unmute Denise again for some reason. It's a little bit of a slow uptake, but Nancy, you look beautiful on full screen. Mandy, could
All right,
you
how's that?
try? Oh yeah, good. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. I was just saying what an inspiring message that was. And we talk about self-care and letting the peace start inside us, and it all flows out from there. And, it can seem like right now that when we spend too much time on Facebook or we spend too much time in the news, it can feel like the world is crumbling. But when we take care of ourselves and we spend some time alone and to strengthen ourselves spiritually, we can find that there's so much goodness out there in the world and in our communities. And we have everything within us already to spread love and good and compassion out into the world. Reverend Beverly does that from the pulpit every Sunday. We do it from our offices or around the kitchen table. And it's all because of this relationship that we have with the divine that is alive within us. I am one simple and plain, no superpower, no famous name, but I stand tall, 'cause I believe something greater has come alive inside of me. And I have felt the spirit stirring in my soul, deep in my soul. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I am one, but I'm not alone. When I'm with you, I am whole. Side by side, we find the truth. When the spirit in me meets the same in you,
Thank you so much, Denise. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank
Appreciate you
you.
being with us this week. You have been such a blessing.
It has been great to be with you guys. I have one more song to leave you with before we close out today, and it's just really kind of a short anthemic affirmation. So I'll actually be able to lead you in it, and you can all sing from wherever you are, and we'll all be singing together. It's called Join My Day. Love in the words I say, peace in the world I made, God in every breath I take, joy in my day, joy in my day. Love in the words I say, love in the words I say, peace in the world I made, peace in the world I made, God in every breath I take, God in every breath I take, joy in my day, joy in my day. We are lifted up, we are lifted up, we are lifted up higher. We are lifted up, we are lifted up, we are lifted up higher. Bless you guys. Have a great Sunday.
Oh, thank you for leaving us with that beautiful song. I just feel it in every soul, a cell of my body and in deep in my soul. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And Mandy, if we could switch back to the presentation, we're just going to close out now. Just want to, as we do each week, we just want to make sure that you understand how important your tithes and offerings are to us. We're holding the space. The campus is closed. Unfortunately, we can't get together face to face, but we're here and we're keeping things in good condition and holding space for you. And of course, Mandy's in the office each week, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 2. If you have any requests or you need to speak with her about anything, I just want to let you know that it matters. It really matters. And it means so much as you mail in your checks and you give online and you drop checks by, and it makes a difference. And we just want to appreciate you. And so whatever it is that you've been able to send and give, we want to let you know how much we appreciate it. And we'll bless it now with our usual offertory prayer. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I send it forth with my blessings and my love. And we close with our prayer of protection, which is a poem by James Dillett Freeman. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So we'll see you again next week, and we invite your friends to join us virtually. You can invite any friend from anywhere, like Nancy did today. She invited friends. And also, Nancy, I started a watch party on Facebook, and we have people from Dallas who've joined in. And we also, of course, have our usual Facebook friends here in the Hill Country. And Mandy, if you will switch us over to sharing and gallery view. Let's see the gallery. So everybody gets to say hello and give Nancy, and let's unmute everybody so you can say hello. And Nancy, thank you so much for being with us. And
It was a pleasure.
thank you for your awesome music. I thought it was a beautiful complimentary music and talk today. So.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Nancy.
Hey, Dan. I see Kara's online.
Thank you very much. Y'all be safe out there.
And I'm not really at the, this is a virtual background. I'm actually on vacation.
Love
Enjoy
it.
vacation.
See you next week. And thank you, Mandy, for running the slides today. That was her first time. Give her some.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good job, Mandy.
I love you all. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.